GHOSTBUSTERS Frozen Empire.
It was amazing to work on this thing because I get to do it with the originals, you know, that whole crew. I mean, everybody that worked on this film was lovely, and I'm a fan of everybody, but to be in that setting, in that suit, you know, shooting those proton packs next to them was surreal. It's just the craziest thing, and something I'll always treasure. Ghostbusters, I think at this point, is probably a franchise that most people are familiar with, and if you've seen them, you'll recognize certain things in this one for sure. You always want to make things that you can see kind of for the first time, not having any prior knowledge of other films, and have it make sense, and I think it does. But it's, you know, it's, I think, in keeping with the other Ghostbuster films in that it's funny, it's kind of scary, it's about kind of misfits and family and being there for one another, and it's a, you know, it's fun. Seeing any movie in a movie theater is the way to do it. You can't beat it. And certainly there is so much that goes into sound and design and everything to be able to see it on a massive screen and hear it. You know, you just hear things in a theater that you don't hear at home. Even with like good surround sound, it's, you know, it's an immersive experience. And so why not, if you're gonna check it out, go for the best way of checking it out. It was so much fun getting to work with Carrie and Finn and Mckenna on Afterlife, on the first one that we all did together. So to be able to come back and work with them on this, as well as Kumail and Patton and James Acaster. You know, there's so many, William Atherton. I mean, there was like so many new people that it was great. I mean, everybody was super cool, and it was also really nice because when we were kind of on set, we all sat together in between takes. This doesn't normally happen on a film. Like, we had a tent where all of our chairs were set up, and we would just hang out with each other all day, every day between scenes and talk, which doesn't happen anymore because everyone has phones and trailers and things like that. So that was a really great kind of bonding experience, I think. Actually hanging out with everybody every day.
I spoke with his dad about it, and he was very proud. He was very proud. I mean, if you grew up the son of the man who made the Ghostbusters, you know, you have it in your bones, you have it in your blood, you have it in your house, you have it in everything you do, and he's done a great job of taking us. I'm very glad that he took on the mantle, as they say. They're going to be professional. You know, you can like people, but when I do this for a living, if you can't do it professionally, we'll never be friends. And I am friends with all of them. I'm really happy to say. It's a darker carpet. It's New York. You know, we're allowing for spills, so it's okay. It's not kind of comfy, as a matter of fact. 4 years later, it's about the same kind of feeling. With that one, I knew exactly what we had. I knew we were going to kill him. This one, I haven't seen the movie yet, so I don't know what's going to happen. But everyone says it's good. And the guy tells me it's funny, so I take his word for it.
Great entertainment, a lot of heart, a lot of love amongst the cast, and some new critters, and new hardware, and a whole new take on the franchise, and a whole new life for the Ghostbusters. They're fantastic. They're phenomenal. They loved the movies as kids, you know, and so they come into it with enthusiasm, and they're playing with intelligence and integrity. That's what we were about. So, yeah, I know it's great to pass the torch to a talented young group like this. Yeah, both as in character and out. He's a very sensitive director. He's a very good filmmaker, and I think he would be flying tonight. I think it's going to be 2 hours of joy coming up.
We're back in New York, and yeah, we're back here busting ghosts and doing yeah, what we worked so hard on. It's great to be able to present it to the fan, the public, and I'm really excited about it. You know, those things that we're all kind of wonder about, you know, what happens after we leave here, you know, what's in the closet when the lights are out. But, and it's a little bit scary. We don't talk about it. And this movie sort of put it out there, and then it allowed us to kind of laugh about it. You know what I mean? It's like, sort of like, you know, whistling in the dark or something, you know. And I think we hadn't seen that. And I think that's what people really responded. Bill Murray is a genius. He really is. And what comes out of him is extraordinary. And Ivan just had the sensibilities to really embrace. He knew what was funny. And I think that's the heart of the movie. I mean, and of course Danny and Harold, and just a great team. But yeah, it was very unique, and it's kind of hard to capture that. You realize that was 40 years ago. We're different people. It's a different audience than the audience we had in '84. But we knew we had to move into the future, and these are people who are more than capable, very funny people. And I'm just so proud to work with them. You know, the franchise is in good hands.
You know, it's always like a high school reunion, sort of. You know, we're so glad to see each other and check in. It was really fun. A little something for everybody. We've got the OGs and the newbies.
Gary and I are very much together in this one, which is exciting. The kids are older. They just keep getting older really fast. Their voices keep changing. They just keep getting taller. And we're in the firehouse, which is really thrilling. We're returning Ghostbusters to its original location. One of the things I love about Jason and Gil is that they really prioritize practical special effects. And as actors, there's nothing more fun than to actually be interacting with those things when we're doing it. It's not green screen acting. You have a lot to respond to. And I mean, we don't make movies like that very much anymore. And I'm so grateful I get to do it. So I didn't know Gil Kenan's work very well before the first movie. And I didn't know what to expect from him as a director. But I have to say, he just shows up really positive and game every day on set. He's willing to kind of play around and find things. He's willing to change things on the fly. We just had a blast working with him. He's great. But he knows what he wants, and he's very exacting. So there was no wasted time either. There's plenty for everybody. I mean, it's certainly more fun for the fans. If they all know the Easter eggs. There are tons of secrets and special things in the movie for the fans. But you can really just pick up anywhere, because this is really a family story at the heart, and anybody can relate to, you know, a single mom in New York trying to make ends meet is really what it's about for me. Oh my gosh. So I've got Dan Aykroyd, Ernie Hudson, Bill Murray. We don't have Harold Ramis, rest in peace. All the guys. And Annie Potts, who I adore. To see them all together was so extraordinary. To see them walk into the firehouse again, and it looked so similar to how it was when they left it in 1984. To be able to witness that moment with them, that's the stuff. I mean, nobody else gets to do that. It's extraordinary. I don't think it's really sunk in there.
This film is really special. This one's definitely different than the last. It feels a lot bigger. It's a lot bigger scale. It's in New York. It brings us back to where the Ghostbusters originated, so that's really special. And I think it's new villain, it's new storylines, new problems that at least Phoebe has never encountered. So there's so much new, but of course it's Ghostbusters, so it's for the fans. Well, I'm a fan, so made by fans for the fans. So there's a lot of love, but this one feels a lot more bigger. It feels more blockbuster, Ghostbusters, action. There's a lot. It's very fun. It's a lot bigger scale. I think it's very important to see any movie in theater. I think that that's the beauty of film. That's my favorite part about movies, is getting to see it in theater. That's what my dad and I bond over. We go to see movies in theaters every single time we can. I think that this is so special to see in theaters. To me, I am so excited to see it in the theater tonight with the fans and be able to hear everybody and everybody's reactions. I think that it's such a special experience to be able to share watching a film with all of these people that you've never met before, and it brings everybody together and everybody's in it. It's beautiful, it's special, it's magic. I think that it's super important to see this movie in theaters. It's super important to go to theaters. Keep watching movies in theaters. It was really cool to be able to work with them for a second time, to be able to work with them in another film. Though we have there's so many people in this film. We have so many new cast members. That's really exciting to add to the franchise. There's new Ghostbusters, there's new tools, there's new friends that we collect along the way. There's so much new stuff in this film, but it is really always a treat and an honor to share the screen with the original Ghostbusters. I freaking love New York. I'm so jealous of anybody that lives here. That's like my goal, is to live here for a period of time someday, and getting to be here for press, getting to be here for the premiere is always so fun. It's where the Ghostbusters are from. It's where the fan base originated. We have the hook and ladder. We have the freaking firehouse here. I love going to the firehouse, so it's special.
I'm excited because it has a new villain, and it takes a lot of swings, which is really awesome. Like, not a lot of sort of big budget movies now, adventure movies, like, take a lot of liberties in new ideas, like, which should be kind of always done. But yeah, just being a part of like a legacy that's really incredible is like a big honor. Yeah, there's a lot of sort of scary moments, but it always has a levity to it because of all the comedy, which the first one did expertly well, and Gil and Jason have tried to sort of inject that kind of DNA into these films, which yeah, I'm very proud of. It's hard to believe that we're kind of all in the same room as each other, and working in the same scenes and everything. It's very surreal, but super rewarding to have all these guys around and to trust what they say. It always makes films better when the cast gets along and is able to hang out, and we had a lot of that. We had a lot of time together to hang out, yeah, just to really get to know each other on another level was really great.
It was a great experience. It was really awesome working with Gil and getting to know him, and also being back with all of my friends from Afterlife. So I think the part about it that I loved the most was the people, and also getting to work on the horror elements of the story, because I think like the new ghosts are genuinely really scary, and getting to dive into that was a lot of fun for me. This film stands on its own. You do not need to see all the other Ghostbusters to see this one and to appreciate it, but I think audiences will definitely take away, this idea of chosen family, and that you can find community and friendship. Yeah!
So good to see you, Celeste. Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. You can have Celeste back.
But yeah, exactly what I was saying. Like, you can find your chosen family and your community anywhere, really. It was amazing. I love Ernie Hudson. I'm Ernie Hudson's #1 fan. So it was great to be able to like really connect with him, especially, and like build that relationship. Everyone needs to see this film in theaters because, the story is such a wide scope. It takes place across all of New York City, and there's huge ghosts and monsters, and it's just amazing on the big screen.
You're going to be laughing a lot. I wouldn't say that you would be crying as much as the last one, but there are a lot of new additions to our family, and we got a lot of cool little toys to show everybody. So, working with all the OGs and just people like Paul Rudd, I get to go into work every day and just learn. It's so great to see everybody work together, and I know I'm learning something like constantly. Gil worked like hand in hand with Jason, especially on the last film as well. So, I could definitely see like a little bit of Jason and Gil, and I could see how they both like really worked together and put their heart into this project. And it was really something that I can't wait for everybody to see. The podcast has like a long-running relationship with the Mini Pups. I'd say in the first movie, he really just has his first run-in with them when they mess up with his pack and all that stuff, and he just has to fight them off. And then they come back in this film, and he hates them, and he just wants to kill them all.
It was really exciting to join into the franchise. I've been a fan since I was a kid, so it was pretty amazing. I think that it scares the leap out of you at the same time as making you laugh, and I don't think a lot of films can do that. It's perfect for everyone. Everyone can like it no matter what your age is. And so I just think it's like a family favorite forever and always will be. I think that, you know, at this point in the world and in life, I just think that there's something so beautiful about a film that can make you feel really good. It has a massive heart. The people that worked on this film really wanted to be there, and it really bleeds through on screen.
It was incredible. I mean, the whole thing felt a bit surreal for me. You know, I've done like 2 days on a couple of other films in the past, so to do this for as long and to be around, you know, one day you can see Slimer in the corridor, the next day you're doing a scene in Ecto-1's in the background, Dan Aykroyd's there, you know, so like every day felt like a bit of a pinch me moment. What was nice actually about doing this, normally I'm a stand-up comedian and it's all like just me deciding what I do from 1 minute to the next. So doing something like this where you're just listening to what someone else wants and trying to like deliver that was really great. So just like 1 minute it's like, we want this to be funny and here's how we want it to be funny and here's the best way of doing that. And then the next scene might be, we really need people to feel scared. So like, here's what I need from you in this scene. So that was just a great challenge each time. And I think the key in each scene, no matter what it is just to go for the truth and how the character would be genuinely feeling. And then hopefully that means it'll be funny or scary. It's going to move the Ghostbusters universe forward and evolve and merge those two teams together and hopefully set up a lot of exciting things for the future. It's crazy. It really is nuts. I'll probably all sink in tomorrow. Being in New York anyway is like exciting for me as someone who lives in London. So yeah, being here and like thinking about all the history of the film and the franchise is kind of overwhelming.
It is really, really weird to, in a couple of hours, I will have just seen myself in a Ghostbusters movie. You know how weird that sounds? This is its own story. I mean, it helps if you've seen the other movies, just for the little fun nods, but this is a ground up. First off, they leaned hard into the scariness. That's something that they remember from that first movie. The scary scenes are flat out terrifying. So they went hard on the scary stuff, which makes the comedy even funnier. But it is a whole new generation of people suddenly, oh my God, do I have to save the world? This is way beyond my pay grade. For me, it was intimidating. I'm sorry, but doing scenes with Annie Potts and Dan Aykroyd, that's a big deal, you know? And oh my God, Annie Potts! Look at her! Oh my God! Anyway,
I just met your wife.
Yeah, it's Annie Potts, for God's sakes. You know, so yeah, there was a lot of like genuinely insane moments. Like that. You just saw one. You just saw me get intimidated.
Well, at first, what goes into it is passion. As a film fan, first of all, as somebody who watched that film in 1984 and felt it change my life in real time in the movie theater, tapping into that same feeling that I had there in the theater, thinking about how I could communicate that feeling to new audiences today, and never letting go of that pure joy that Ghostbusters gives you as a movie audience. That balance, the seesaw between comedy and horror, is everything with Ghostbusters. Actually, Ghostbusters broke the mold. It was the first time a big comedy movie with the greatest comedy actors of its time could give cutting-edge special effects, top shelf, and make an audience really frightened. That thrill ride, that amusement park ride, it's the Ghostbusters DNA. I had the extraordinary good fortune of watching Ivan and Jason be a consummate producer and director relationship on Afterlife. And I watched them as a father and son show so much love and respect for one another. Watching Jason on this film step up as a producer and be so supportive, so effortless in his work. I know that Ivan would be proud, and I could feel Ivan's presence on set every day.
Ghostbusters has been part of my life since as long as I can remember. I remember being 7 years old on the set of the first one, and it's hard for me to believe that I'm now here as a producer on Ghostbusters 40 years later. You can come right into this Ghostbusters movie. I mean, we give you the whole backstory. What's exciting is we're back in New York City where Ghostbusters belongs, and we got a whole new villain. We got new great comedians like Patton Oswalt and Kumail Nanjiani in it, and yet we have all your old favorites from, you know, Bill and Dan and Ernie to the Spengler family with Paul Rudd and Finn Wolfhard, and you know, I think it's got a little bit of something for everybody. This is definitely the scariest Ghostbusters yet, and maybe after the original, the second funniest. Gil Kenan is my best friend, my writing partner, and I am very proud to produce him now. He did an extraordinary job picking up the proton pack. He is the perfect Ghostbusters director.
We didn't even know if the first one was going to do anything. And when I wrote the song, I thought that was nothing. It was just supposed to be a little snippet over the library scene. And then Ivan Reitman heard it and said, can you make it longer? You know, so it's really started off as 20 seconds of music. That changed my life completely, changed my kids' lives, changed the lives of everybody here. I mean, it's really amazing that something that starts off that small can end up that effective. It's always nice to hear an interpretation of something that you did. It shows it's the biggest compliment somebody can pay you. Bustin' makes me feel good.
It was a throwback to the 80s, so there was a desire to look at how things were done then from a color palette standpoint to what the technology was and how we could look at that and reference it, but then try to bring it to a modern day era, because it wasn't exactly, you know, the perfection we were going for, so we had to look at that for inspiration and then kind of evolve from there.
We tried to throw back to the nostalgia from the '84 film as well, though. Yeah. It was really great to work with all of them and the new cast together, the collaboration of both of those teams. It was really nice. Yeah.
And that was like, it was like a merger of the past and the new, both from a technology and character standpoint. It was a fun process throughout.